All right, so you know the axiom. If you have nothing nice to say it louder. That's at least how people are interpreting that these days. If you have nothing nice to say, everybody needs to hear it, and you better share your opinion, and you might want to do it with even more volume than you would have previously. It's a common pastime nowadays for us to get more vocal about our opinions of things, and we're having a very difficult time with the blurry line between criticizing an action and denigrating the people that are involved in that action. Do people do stupid things? Of course they do. Are there stupid people? Why would you ask such a question? Well, I know, because there's no stupid questions. But can people be stupid? I guess, probably. The question becomes, though, how much are we entitled to go around pointing it out as though it never comes back on us? This is what I think James is warning us about here. In James chapter 4, verse 13, in verse 11, he says, "Don't speak evil against one another, brothers. The one who speaks against a brother or judges his brother speaks evil against the law and judges the law." So we already have a qualifier here. You might be tempted to say, okay, Brent, that doesn't really refer to, I can't say this about people in politics or people out in society or something like that. There is a qualifier here that he's saying, don't speak this way about your brother or sister in Christ. It's a bad look, for one. But even more than that, it's looking down on the law that God has written. It's placing you as a judge above the law. And so he says, but if you judge the law, you're not a doer of the law, but a judge. You're spending all of your time judging other people as opposed to doing the thing that's right to do. So verse 12 says, there's one lawgiver and judge, he who is able to save and to destroy. But who are you to judge your neighbor? So now we've got that qualifier sort of being removed a little bit. At first it was, don't speak arrogantly or haughty against your brother or sister. Don't judge them in that sense. Now he says, don't even do that to your neighbor. Now, those of you that have been around the scriptures for a while know that it's dangerous precedent for us to say that we can't judge. There is precedent for us to do that. There's a command for us to judge rightly, that we are to discern between good and evil. We are to make those discernments about the things that we witness, and we're to protect even our own spirits or souls from entering into those bad behaviors or bad practices or ways of thinking. The problem, though, I think that's being addressed by James in his attempt to give us biblical wisdom is to not position ourselves as those who would never do such a thing. Once God's people become on their high perch when they are judging the things that they would never do, they've put themselves above the authority of the one lawgiver who is Jesus Christ. So even though we are to be careful what we judge and how we judge, I think it's important that we're also very, very careful about our attitude in judgment. It's common practice today for us to call this person an idiot. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, all those kinds of things. Listen to yourself and then think to yourself, if people were to take any of my actions in isolation through the course of a day, could they say the same about me? And then we should measure our looking down on the rest of everybody else in the haughtiness or in the high perch that we put ourselves in order to do so. I think that's kind of the thrust of what James is getting at here in chapter 4, and we're going to move into chapter 5 in the days ahead. God bless you.